Welcome to this week's Pacers videocast. I'm Mark Montieth. This is Mike Wells. Mike's fresh off the road, trips to Miami and New York. And the Pacers got one game over 500 by beating the mighty Knicks on Monday night. So they're one game over right now. Do you feel like this team can stay over 500, or is it going to be an up and down thing all year?
I think this is probably the stretch they're going to stay over, because when you look at their schedule coming up, Philly coming up in a couple hours, and you're at Minnesota on Friday, then you're playing the Washington Wizards, who are without Antonio Daniels, without Gilbert Arenas. Then you got the Atlanta Hawks, who are playing 500 basketball. So they're in a stretch now where they can possibly be a good 2 or 3 games over 500 before they head to Detroit a week from Friday.
Right. And it seems like it makes this is an opportunity to create some room in the standings, because in January they have, 9 road games, I think, a 5-game Western trip and then a 4-game Eastern trip. So it seems like if you're going to have a winning season, you need to make a move right now.
Yeah, you definitely, because the schedule's in their favor as far as being at home and the teams they play, because like you said, they play 9 games on the road out of 11. I mean, you're going from the West Coast to East Coast. It's going to be a tough stretch. You got some good teams in there, the Lakers and Phoenix and so on. So this is the opportunity where they really got to distance themselves, because it feels like everybody just kind of packed in the Eastern Conference outside of Detroit and Boston. Now they can kind of separate themselves and have a chance to move up to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the East.
Yeah. Mike Dunleavy had a career-high 36 points against the Knicks on Monday. Maybe you put an asterisk by that because the Knicks played no defense, but still a great effort, and he's having a career year so far. He's the team's leading scorer going into tonight's game against Philadelphia. What have you seen from Dunleavy this year, and has anything surprised you about his play?
I consider Dunleavy definitely a fundamental basketball player. You can tell that he grew up around a coach, and obviously his dad, the coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. I just think this system where he's able to kind of just move and he doesn't have to create off the dribble, because Dunleavy, he's not a good creator when he has to do it by himself. But when he's moving and slashing to the basket, it fits his style best. And I think Jim O'Brien's giving him the freedom to shoot the 3-point shot, and also if he has a chance to cut and get a backdoor pass or whatnot, he has the opportunity to do that, and I think that's why he's thriving so well. Yeah,
it's interesting, the 8-player trade with Golden State last year, in a sense, Dunleavy was traded for Jackson. I mean, they were kind of exchanging positions and share a position, and to me, they're from opposite ends of the spectrum, both as players and people. They're both good players, they're both good guys, and yet they're so much different. And Dunleavy, as you said, doesn't create for himself, but he does a lot of things Stephen Jackson doesn't do, a lot of little things. So it's just interesting to compare those two players. Jackson's thriving in Golden State now, and Dunleavy is thriving in Indiana in this system. Do you have thoughts on those two players and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and who might be the better player?
I definitely give the defensive edge to Stephen Jackson. I think you can put him on some of the elite guys on the perimeter. You can't do that with Dunleavy, but I think Dunleavy, like you said, does a lot of the little things better than Stephen Jackson. I think he's a better rebounder. I think he gets his teammates involved better. The one edge I do give Stephen is that when you're an opposing team and you're looking at comparing the two, I think Stephen Jackson puts more fear in the other team, because he can create off the dribble and he can have a 35, 40-point game. I think Dunleavy, you don't have to worry about him always having a 30 or a 35-point game. Like you said, it was against the Knicks, but you give him credit because it was a career high. But in that area, I give Stephen Jackson the edge, because I think teams fear him more than they fear Mike Dunleavy.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Now, Jermaine O'Neal has put a stretch of games together. He was injured, of course, earlier. Took a while to get into the flow of things, but it appears he has something going now and has established himself in Jim O'Brien's system. What are you seeing from Jermaine?
I think Jermaine's getting up and down the court quicker than when he was early on, because obviously the knee was bothering him. And one thing I really noticed is that when he gets the ball in the post, he's not taking 25 jab steps and trying to survey the defense and wait until the shot clock gets down to 6 or 7 seconds. He's getting it. He's looking for his teammates cutting to the basket, and if he has something, he's going to take his guy to dribble, or he'll try to shoot a short jump shot, but he's not holding the ball and slowing things down. I think that was the biggest question mark with him and Jim O'Brien's system, is whether Jermaine could fit in and not hold the ball. And I think the coaching staff is getting it in his head where Jermaine's either going to shoot it quick or he's going to pass it quick.
Yeah. Ike Diogu has been activated after a lengthy stretch on the injured list. He played 3 games, averaged about 13 points a game. Now he's back, but he hasn't played in the last 2 games, and Jim O'Brien says basically he has to earn his spot back. And my question to that is, well, how do you earn your spot back when you hardly ever practice? And when you do practice, you're not doing that much. So how long before Ike Diogu is seen by fans again?
I don't know, and I know you're the big Ike guy. You're the Ike guy. You've been in this corner a lot. That's a good question because O'Brien said in New York that if this was a Jamal Tinsley or Jermaine O'Neal a starter, that guy would automatically be able to jump back into the lineup. Now Ike does have to work his way back, but the schedule doesn't allow it because they haven't had a lot of practice time sandwiched in with a lot of games, and I think that's going to hurt Ike. And with him being a young player, you have to wonder, is he going to get to him mentally where he gets frustrated or not because he's not getting minutes. So I think if and when he gets that time on the court, he better take advantage of it because he may not be on there for long stretches.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine somebody will get hurt before too long. They'll have to play him, so we'll probably see Ike before too long. Well, that's it for this week. Matt Dial wants us to get out of here. We got places to go, things to do, so we'll see you next week.
Have a good Christmas.